Hey, what's up, everybody? For this video, I want to talk about New Japan and the ROH Supercard of Honor 6 show coming up. So, yeah, New Japan, they actually came to the East Coast last weekend. They came to Rahway, New Jersey, Basketball City in Philadelphia. And, I actually got this flyer at Manhattan Mayhem for it. This is like a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I don't know if New Japan is ever going to come back to the United States. So I definitely wanted to jump on the opportunity and go to one of these shows. So I went to the Basketball City show. This show, I had a tough time finding the venue. Really, really tough to find. The cab drivers don't know where anything is. So just really a very, very frustrating situation. But anyway, I got there after the second match was over. So I probably missed about the first hour of the show. This show, it was pretty average. This is probably one of the weakest wrestling shows I've ever been to, from a wrestling standpoint. I haven't been to a lot of shows. Just pretty much, I've been to pretty much every ROH show since the end of 2007. So I've seen a lot of great shows. But this, I don't know. This is pretty much a two-match show. I'm not like a huge New Japan fan. After this weekend, I really believe Noah definitely has the superior workers. I know New Japan probably put on, some of the better shows from last year, but I feel like Noah definitely has, the better talent by far. Some of these matches I really couldn't care for. But don't get me wrong, this is still a pretty good show. I still definitely think it's worth, buying on DVD if it does come out on DVD. I'm not sure from IWGP videos or from the Jersey All Pro website. Like I said, it's a two-match show. We have the match that was promoted heavily for this show was, this is the only reason I went to the show. I mean, this is pretty much just good enough for me. It was the only match announced, leading, like, a couple weeks leading up to the show. It was Low Key versus Prince Devitt. It was an excellent match. I really enjoyed it. Don't expect, like, a match of the year candidate. They really didn't go into overkill mode, and which was good. This crowd was very, very mainstream. They weren't like your typical indie ROH crowd. They weren't very spoiled at all. They really gave this match a lot of support. They were like they were cheering "This is awesome" for things that really ROH fans wouldn't have gone crazy for. Because it didn't go into overkill mode. That's what I'm trying. That's my point. But it was cool. The first time I ever saw Low Key live, and it didn't disappoint. Low Key looked great. He came out with a ton of energy. He came out with his old ROH theme. Devitt, first time seeing Devitt as well, and he looked great, man. He has, his entrance is phenomenal because everyone sings that song at the top of their lungs. So that was cool. Like I said, it was a good match. Probably about 15 minutes. There wasn't like a ton of near falls. It wasn't like a long drawn out 25-minute match like I was anticipating, but it was still good. Kind of like on the same level as Davey and Low Key from PWG Wrestle Reunion, which I enjoyed that match as well. So definitely almost a solid 4-star match. Also, we had Hiroshi Tanahashi taking on Charlie Haas for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. This was good. This is probably the best singles match I've seen Charlie Haas wrestle in. The only other time Haas really impressed me in the singles match was against Kurt Angle from 2003 when Angle came back after the neck surgery. So that was a long time ago. It's like I'm not a huge Charlie Haas fan. I'm just not a fan of his in-ring ability. I think he can go. I love his mat wrestling though. He could definitely go on the mat. Don't get me wrong. He's a former All-American, but I'm just not. I just enjoy watching Shelton a lot more than Charlie Haas. But yeah, him and Tanahashi had a great match. This was probably the match of the night. Tanahashi is great. There's no doubt about it. I know a lot of Noah fans don't really like him that much, but you can't deny it. He's a hell of an athlete. He does an awesome frog splash. Talked to my friend about this. I kind of agree with him. He said that Tanahashi probably does the best frog splash in the business since Eddie Guerrero. So. And yeah, I mean, this had a lot of drama. Haas actually had Tanahashi in the House of Pain. Everyone thought Tanahashi was going to tap. So pretty good drama. Like I said, a solid 4-star match, probably the best match on the show. Aside from that, there's nothing really, besides those two matches, nothing really else to check out. I mean, the Davey tag match, he was in the 6-man tag with, Rhino Homicide, and they took on, I think it was Maccabee, Taguchi, and somebody else. Was it Akama? Or I can't remember the guy's name. But this was, kind of like a television match. Like nothing, really nothing special. What else was there? MVP's match was pretty average. You know, MVP got a great ovation, but I'm just not a big fan of his wrestling ability. So that, I mean, that's pretty much it. You know, it's a 2-match show. This was definitely probably one of the weakest wrestling shows I've ever been to, but it was still a good show though. I would say that. So yeah, I heard that the Philly show is supposed to be the best out of all 3 of these shows. I heard it was amazing actually. You had Davey versus Tanahashi. I can imagine that. That God, I wish that was actually signed for the for New York, because I think that could probably be a match of the year candidate. I think you also had Omega versus Liger for the Jersey All Pro Junior Heavyweight Championship. So yeah, if any of you guys went to the Rahway show or the Philly shows, let me know how they were. I'd be interested to see how they turned out compared to the Basketball City show. So yeah, that's pretty much it for New Japan. So let me move on to Supercard of Honor 6. This is going to be taking place in Chicago on Saturday night. And I know some people are complaining that it doesn't really feel like a Supercard of Honor show because they're not bringing in any Dragon Gate talent or Noah talent or any outside talent. Even guys like the Motor City Machine Guns aren't going to appear on this show. So it's pretty much just ROH talent, which is this will be the first time ever for Supercard of Honor where it's just strictly Ring of Honor talent. And but I think it's fine though. You know, I think the key was, you know, splitting up Haas and Benjamin. It adds a lot of depth to the card. I definitely believe that this is the first time Shelton Benjamin's wrestling singles, and as well as Charlie Haas. And you know, I just think I think this is a great card. Actually, I'm going to say that this is probably going to be wow. I think this might end up being probably the second or third best Supercard of Honor ever. It's definitely not going to touch Supercard of Honor 3, and but you know, I think it really has a fair chance of surpassing everything else. Though I think this could easily be like a 9.5. If everything goes, you know, smoothly. I really think it can. All right, so let's start with the top of the card. We have Eddie Edwards versus Roderick Strong. Now, I know what some people were thinking. You know, we've already seen this at Manhattan Mayhem 4, so what's really special about this? I mean, you know, you look back to Supercard of Honor 1, you had the main event was actually Bryan Danielson and Roderick Strong. At that time, that was actually the 3rd time they wrestled for the championship. So it wasn't like that was a fresh matchup that no one had ever seen before. So, and Eddie and Roderick have tremendous chemistry. I know the Manhattan Mayhem 4 match just came out on DVD, but once you see that match, trust me, that's the match of the year in my opinion. I haven't seen it on DVD yet, but you know, just from the live experience, I would say that it was tremendous stuff between those two guys. So you can't really complain about that. Next up, we had the Briscoes and the All Night Express. This might be like their blow-off match, the Chicago Street Fight. And I mean, their feud has been awesome. Every single match. Manhattan Mayhem 4, that match was great almost. The Undertaker Center Stage match was, you know, a blood war. Excellent stuff. This is even going to top all of them, I think. You know, a Chicago Street Fight. You know, this could be like, you know, Briscoes and Steen and Generico from Death Before Dishonor 5. It could be that good. You know, this could end up being, you know, a match of the year candidate. You know, one of the best brawls between 2 tag teams we've ever seen. So, I'm fine with that. Next up, we have Claudio Castagnoli versus Shelton Benjamin. This would be Shelton Benjamin's first singles match in ROH. Out of all the matches, this probably has the biggest chance of being disappointing. I could just see this not getting enough time. But however, though, if these two guys are on top of their game and they get time, you know, we could be talking about something special. We could be talking about one of the most athletic matches ever. You know, but Claudio, you know, he's an amazing athlete, and on top of that, he's been doing, you know, some of the craziest shit out there, which is tossing everybody around, UFOs, Ricola bombs, and on top of that, you got Shelton probably going to do some sick things out there. So this could be, you know, spectacular. But I just have a feeling that it might not get enough time. I don't know why. And then we have Davey Richards versus Charlie Haas, a match that was actually promoted for the New Japan shows. This is supposed to take place during that New Japan weekend, but I guess it got scratched. This would be great. You know, this would be very intense. Expect a lot of great mat wrestling here. I think Haas has improved a lot. You know, since the beginning of the year. I wasn't that high on him. I'm still not a huge Charlie Haas fan, but I think the intensity here is what's definitely going to sell the match between, you know, Davey and Haas. And I believe, you know, I just saw the video wire. They talked about how they met in the finals of the ECWA Super 8, I guess back in, I don't know when that was, maybe 2002 or 2003. I'm not sure when it was. Or maybe it was when Haas was fired. I'm not sure. If you guys know, let me know. And also we'll be getting that young knockout kid, Chris Hero and El Generico. Generico and Hero, they've had good matches in PWG. I think they had a match at what was it? What did they wrestle at last year? Was it Pick Your um was it Epic Encounter 3? They had a match last year. I mean, there's really no backstory behind this. You get, two of the hottest guys in ROH just going at each other. I really can't say anything about this. It just, we haven't seen this a lot in ROH, so I'm fine with it. It's just a nice special attraction match. There's really not much to say about it from a storyline standpoint. Then we'll be getting Christopher Daniels versus Colt Cabana for the, not for the TV title. It'll just be a grudge match. And, Daniels and Cabana have had some snooze fests in the past. I'm not going to lie to you, but I think considering this is in Chicago, Colt Cabana will get a lot of fan support, and Christopher Daniels is a heel now, so I don't know. I think this would be fine. Like, this is like a nice little undercard match here. Christopher Daniels is a main event level guy. So is Colt Cabana, and the fact that this is probably the third match on the show, it speaks volumes about how great this card is. One final time, we'll get Steve Corino versus the Prodigy Mike Bennett. Not really looking forward to it. I'm not a big fan of the Prodigy, but I love Corino though. I love what Corino's doing with the storyline where he's trying to, improve himself as a human being on the road to recovery. And I would imagine that this would be the best offering between these two gentlemen. So that's pretty much all I could say. It's not really Supercard of Honor worthy. I would agree, but. Even on Supercard of Honor 1, you did have some filler. You had some filler on Supercard of Honor 3 even. So, and I wouldn't even say this is a filler kind of match. Also, we'll get Homicide versus Michael Elgin. Not a big fan of Homicide, but since Homicide's come back, but Elgin is on fire right now. I could just see Elgin doing some really awesome power moves to Homicide. And Homicide has lost some weight. He looked like he lost some weight at the New Japan show, which he was actually at. He was in the tag match with Davey Richards. And then we'll get the Bravado Brothers taking on Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. Bravado's against Cole and O'Reilly. They've had good matches in the past. This should be like a hot opener. Really nothing to complain about. Now, let me say this. I don't know what people were expecting. I think the show that really needs foreign talent is the Hammerstein show. If you look at all the Hammerstein shows, from a new level all the way into the 7th anniversary show, you had either Marufuji or Kenta or some type of Noah talent coming in for those shows. So I really feel like that's what they really need to get a high attendance rate for the Hammerstein show. They really need. I'm dying to see it. I really want them to bring in some Noah guys. I'm a huge fan of Kenta Marufuji and some of the other Noah talent, and I would love for it to happen, but is it really smart to spend money on him for a Supercard of Honor and for the Hammerstein show? Probably not. So I would imagine that they're just saving money for that show. The other thing is, I know Noah has a show the same day as the Hammerstein show, which I wouldn't really, jump to any conclusions about that. Noah would only be losing 2 or 3 of their top guys if they do bring in any talent. So I don't think that's going to really hurt, the Noah show in Japan that much. So I wouldn't jump to any conclusions that they're not going to bring any Noah talent in for that show. Someone talked about bringing in Sekimoto for the Hammerstein show. I'd be fine with that. I think that would be great. Maybe even Zack Sabre Jr. I don't think it would be that expensive to bring him in. But the other thing is, if they're not going to bring in any Noah talent for Hammerstein, then I really think they need to do Eddie Edwards versus Davey Richards at Hammerstein, because they really need to have a solid main event. They can't make the same mistake that they did with the New Level. At a New Level, they had Claudio versus Nigel, and it just fell flat. Claudio wasn't really ready for the main event at that time, so I just feel like they really need to book a great main event for that show. And if without Noah talent, if you don't have Noah talent coming in, besides Eddie and Davey, what can you really book that really hasn't been done? I really don't know. Maybe Shelton versus I don't know. I don't know what you could do. But I just think The other thing is, even if Noah talent is going to be announced, I don't think Kenta versus Eddie Edwards for the championship. I don't think that's good enough. I really think, if you do bring some of the Noah guys in, I would really like to see like a 5-on-5 elimination match. I think you could do something like that. That really carries that best of the world theme. If you could really pull something off like that, and if you could bring in Segura, which I'm really I think that would be awesome if they bring in Segura. I think Hero versus Segura for the GHC Heavyweight Championship at the Hammerstein doesn't have to be the main event. That could be a really a big match for Segura. That could